I've been nomading for about 9 years now, and today I want to talk about the top places that I think are underrated for digital nomads. First up, we have Montenegro. The reason why I'm not specifying a city in Montenegro is because the area I'm talking about sort of has lots of little towns around the region, and they're all pretty much equally as good. And I think this place is pretty underrated because there are not that many people that go there in general, especially the shoulder season. If you go during like April, May, or September, October, those areas, you're going to see very few tourists and, very few nomads as well. But if you go in the high season, there's still just not that many tourists compared to just a few kilometers away in Dubrovnik in Croatia. And that's another reason why this area is so good, is because you can actually fly into Dubrovnik and then you can see Dubrovnik, but you can also just take quick bus or car down to Kotor, and it's only a couple hours. And so you have pretty much the same or very similar beauty that Croatia has along the Adriatic Sea there. Beautiful cliffs, beautiful beaches, very clear water. But then you just don't have the tourists. The prices are a little bit less than what you'd find in Croatia. Of course, the downside is there aren't that many people there, so they're just not that much of a nomad community. One of the bad things about Montenegro, though, is that it's just not very connected. You can fly into Dubrovnik, like I said, and then you go down through the border there into Montenegro. But the airport in Teva is just not that well connected. You're going to have to fly to another airport to probably get to where you want to go. But the upside that brings is that there's just not that many people there. So if you want to look for a place that's just not very well known, Montenegro is that. Next up is Split, Croatia. Now, I know Split, Croatia is a somewhat known digital nomad location, but honestly, I think it's still underrated because it's a really great little coastal town, and you have access to Hvar, and you can go up north to Pula, and you have access in the summer via ferries to all the little islands in the region. You can go down to Dubrovnik by a bus or ferry. It's much better connected than Montenegro. I think they've even recently introduced a train that goes from Budapest, Hungary to Split overnight, and there might be another one that goes from Zagreb. I'm not exactly sure. But it's much better connected than just further south in Montenegro. Split is super safe. The water there is really clear. You can do snorkeling, you can do scuba diving. The scuba diving is not the best because just in general in the Mediterranean, there's just not a ton of life because of the salinity of the water is just so high. But I mean, the food's amazing, the old town's amazing, and honestly, I just don't know why it's not more popular among nomads. Up next is Kuala Lumpur. I've talked about KL at length before in other videos. I'll link them here. And KL is becoming more popular among nomads very slowly, but I still think compared to Bangkok and even Singapore, but just the region of how many nomads are in that region, KL is just not getting its fair share, and for better and worse. I mean, of course, I want to keep everything to myself, but at the same time, it really deserves much more praise. The downtown's actually walkable, it's safe. The air quality is much cleaner than a lot of places you find in the region because of where it's located on that peninsula. It's very well connected. The public transit is pretty good. It's getting better. They have a bunch of world-class malls. The food is amazing because of all the mixed cultures that are there. I've talked about this before, but honestly, it's probably the best place in the world for the value you get for the amount of money that you actually spend. If you want to do a quick weekend trip, you can take either a flight or a bus to the coast, and you can go to multiple different islands that are just gorgeous, and there are very few tourists that are there. And the ones that are there are usually Singaporeans, and so they're pretty much locals anyway, so they're not as chaotic as you might find in, Bali or places in Thailand. So those are my top 3 places that I think are underrated, but I want to mention a place that I think is overrated, and that is Ericeira, Portugal. Now, a bit of backstory, Ericeira is listed very high on nomadlist.com, or at least it was. I think for a while it was listed as number 1. And I've been there multiple times during different parts of the year, and I never could understood why it was listed so high. At one point, a couple years ago, I actually messaged the founder, and I was just saying, hey, there must be a bug, or someone must be glitching the system to benefit themselves or something, because Ericeira is listed as number 1. It's been number 1 for, I think it's a couple days or a couple weeks now. It's listed higher than Bangkok, it's listed higher than Lisbon. There's no way there are that many nomads that are actually there, because everyone that I've also talked to have just said it's okay. There's nothing great about it. And I'm not trying to hate on the city or anything, but the issue is everyone I've talked to who has heard about Ericeira has heard about it through nomadlist.com. And I just don't understand why it's listed so high. Other than that, nomadlist.com does a pretty good job ranking cities and sort of showing you what's popular among nomads versus places that are so good. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up to subscribe to follow me. I'm on my 9th year of digital nomading while I buy and build businesses that fund my lifestyle.